listeners, and welcome to episode 33 of your favorite, most popular Castleberry podcast, What's Up, Castleberry? We are a podcast for our community, about our community, and led by people, myself and Drew and producer Robin, who are part of this community. We hope that as you listen today, you will be encouraged, you will learn, and you will get to know a little bit more about our city and its people and some of the great things that it has to offer. Drew, how are you today?
Hey, Andy. Good to see you as always. Producer Robin, you as well. Doing all right. I will be candid, as you know, Andy, but for our listeners, it has been a very challenging week here at our church, Willow Creek, where I work. We lost a very dear friend and fellow minister, Jeff Smith, to a heart attack this past week. And it was, of course, anytime you lose someone that you care about deeply, particularly in an unexpected way, there's just a lot of opportunity to self-reflect and to think about just the real bigger meanings and purposes of life. Andy, I joked with you that perhaps we start with an inspirational quote instead of ending. And I don't necessarily have a quote for our listeners, but I will say that as I've reflected on Jeff's life, Jeff literally passed away from this earth while serving other people. And it was in the midst of serving that he passed on. And so I want to honor him and just speak to our listeners as well as to myself and our team about the importance of living with purpose and passion, that we do not know when and how that day will come when we will pass on from this earth. But I just want to encourage all to live with purpose, with passion, and to live for others. That's one thing I'm very proud of, to say my friend Jeff died serving other people and making much of other people in the midst of what they were going through. So I desire to honor you, Jeff, and I thank you for your life. So thanks, Andy, for kind of giving me that chance to open our time.
Thanks, Drew, for that tribute. I know Jeff was known by many because of his engagement in our community, and for your comforting words. You know, death is a difficult part of life, and it's important that we honor each other and love each other. And I know your church family has been doing that this week.
That has been a really exciting and just truly a blessing, have been surrounded by and overwhelmed even by just support. Even as we were talking with our guest a little bit earlier, I got a call from a local friend of ours reaching out, I'm certain, about everything that transpired with Jeff. So living in Castleberry, really love having that community feel. Well, speaking of folks that are moving on, he is not dying, but our Castleberry in the News segment does involve a real significant move and change. Dr. Walt Griffin, the longtime Seminole County Public Schools superintendent, is retiring. Andy, you shared with me a survey that went out to many in the community, asking some questions, kind of looking ahead to the next superintendent. Questions like, how would you rate the quality currently of our schools here in Seminole County? What is maybe a top priority looking ahead at Seminole County? And what are some aspects of Dr. Griffin's tenure that you found to be important? Andy, would you spend a moment just discussing the man and his legacy, and then maybe addressing some of the questions on that survey?
I had actually found out about his retirement a few days earlier when I received a phone call from someone who'd heard and just wanted me to listen and pray and tell her everything is going to be all right. And I said, everything's going to be all right. But as the news has broken, I think people have been shaken up and concerned. And I think that speaks very well of the leader that Dr. Griffin has been. He's led through some challenging times. He's addressed difficult issues. He's maintained a stability along with a huge amount of character and integrity in a changing world. And in so many ways, he embodies the DNA of Seminole County Public Schools. He is retiring to spend time with his family and his grandchildren, and that's just wonderful for them. But it will be a loss for our school system and for our county. And so the search for a successor begins. As a preliminary step, the school put out a survey to parents, which I thought was very thoughtful and very helpful and a great way to get them engaged, asking what they were looking for in a leader, what leadership traits are important. And I'm sure they will gather all that information and cluster it. And then I believe there's going to be a team that's going to be put together who will begin a nationwide search for our next superintendent.
Andy, what would you say, knowing Dr. Griffin much better than I, what was a particular quality in that role of superintendent that we would want, hopefully, for the next superintendent to emulate? What did you notice about his style of leadership?
Sure, great question. So I'll answer that with a story. I was Dr. Griffin's, I believe, very first appointment on his very first day as superintendent. And I don't remember what we were meeting about, but it was something that had been set up and he was trying to connect with some folks in the community. And as I met him, I gave him a little welcome gift. And that gift was a book by Joel Manby, who used to be the CEO at SeaWorld. And the book is called Love Works. And it talked about how you could practically express acts of love in the workplace. And I believe Dr. Griffin read that book, and I hope it was encouraging and, certainly no credit to me. But one of the things I will say about Dr. Griffin is that he led with love. There was a genuine care that you felt when you were in his presence. Even if you didn't agree with him, he has some tremendous people skills, and he used those in ways to really move us forward and move us forward together. It's important to say that Dr. Griffin will be finishing out the school year, and there will be lots more time for tributes and to say our thanks. But yeah, that was some big news in our county, and we're delighted for him, but saddened for us. But going to trust through the changes as well.
That's right. That's right. Well, very, very well said. And we are appreciative of Dr. Griffin in particular that he has led us into this chaotic and unique year, COVID and all. So thank you, Dr. Griffin, for your steady and consistent leadership in our community regarding our schools. Well, hey, folks, we usually take a listener question. However, today's conversation is just action-packed with Chris Ham from the Sharing Center. So in lieu of a question, we're going to postpone that time, but we would love to hear from you, our listener. There's just a lot going on with the schools, with community, with the pandemic, with upcoming elections, just with culture and life as a whole. Let us know what's on your minds. Reach out to us through a myriad of options through our Facebook page or Instagram page titled What's Up Castleberry. You can go to our podcast feed and leave a review and a comment or a question there, or you can go to our website. It's whatsupcastleberry.com. Speaking of our website, we've got some quick highlight there of a recent article in which Andy and producer Robin and I were recognized for this podcast in the Life magazine, Lake Mary Life. And we have that up on our website as well. So please leave a comment, leave a question. We want to hear from you. Today's sponsor is All In Construction Services. Last week, we were privileged to hear from Kenzie Lawthan, who works for All In Construction, and she shared a great conversation about what they do and how All In Construction is really focused on Castleberry and Seminole County. All In Construction offers beautiful home remodeling, renovations, and additions. They've been in the area since 2008. No matter what your need is for your home improvement project, All In Construction can provide the solution. So visit allinconstruction.com. We'll be back with Chris Ham.
Welcome back, listeners. Now it's our favorite time of the show where we get to interview a very special guest. Today, our guest is Chris Ham, the development manager from the Sharing Center. Welcome, Chris. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here, Andy and Drew.
We heard you coughing beforehand, but we're reassured to know it's not COVID. And the fact that we're on the computer means that we're not going to get a computer virus from you. So we're pleased about that. So, Chris, we like to start just to kind of break the ice, allow our listeners to get to know you with a little icebreaker. If it's okay, Drew and I will take it in turns to ask you some quirky questions that will help us to get to know you a little bit. Does that feel okay?
Absolutely.
I'm excited about this one, Chris. I had pizza last night with our family, so we're going to jump right in. Favorite pizza topping?
Well, pepperoni all the way.
A classic.
Just a classic. That's a good way to say it. Yeah. Favorite song and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. You know, this is going to sound crazy, but there's a band called They Might Be Giants, and they had a song called Istanbul. And I don't know why, but it's a quirky, fun song, and I just really like it. And what's funny is they're also the group that sang the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse song. So whenever I hear them singing, I think of that band, They Might Be Giants.
Very nice. A very upbeat group, it sounds like.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Chris, next question. Dream car that you'd like to own someday?
I probably have to say, I'm not a car guy, but I just have always loved like a 55 or 57 Chevy Bel Air convertible. You know, it's got no power steering, but it's just a great car.
That is a classy and classic car.
That describes me to a T. Classic and classy.
Favorite place to visit in Castleberry, Chris? What's your favorite Castleberry place?
So I'm going to date myself, and I think it's in Castleberry, but Cimarron Skateway. I remember because I grew up in Winter Park in the 70s and 80s, and we used to go there, and that was the cool place. But my son went like 2 years ago on a field trip, and I couldn't go with him. But I would actually probably have to say Culver's because I can't drive by Culver's without pulling in to get something. I'm going to be honest.
Is it the cheese curds?
It's not the cheese curds. It's just, I don't know. I just got to get something. So,
Yeah.
And they're good people. The people that own Culver's are just nice folks, are good Castleberry folk. They care for the community.
We're hoping to get them on the podcast here soon.
Yeah.
We really need to get the Cimarron Skateway folks on as well. All the business we send their way. I've been there over the years with my kids, and it's funny. I grew up in England, as many of you know, and the skate centers over there smell exactly the same as the skate rinks over here. It's like this sweaty teenage thing that's just...
Yeah, it's all the teenage hormones that are raging through there.
But I feel like in England, they must skate the opposite direction.
Yeah, on the other side of the track. That's good. Well done. Well done, Drew.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Chris, tell us a little bit more about yourself, if you would. Let's pose the question this way. If your life was a mini series, maybe a Netflix show, what would be your quote unquote favorite episodes to this point?
Favorite episode? That's a great question.
I did not write it.
No, take credit for it. You know, I don't know.
I won't let him, Chris. That's not how it works here.
Yeah. I'm a dad of 3 kids, so the episodes when my kids are born and I get to hold them for the first time, I think would be my favorite episodes. Just seeing my kids, and I love to be with them.
That's awesome. That is a beautiful episode as well. Chris, you and I met through a mutual friend, but also because we serve on a parent panel together with Dr. Griffin with Seminole County Public Schools. You're also very involved in scouting and many other parts of our community. What do you love about living in Seminole County?
We moved back to Orlando. We moved to Orlando 2 years ago, the greater community area. I grew up in Winter Park. I'm a native Floridian, which is kind of a rarity. My family moved here in the 60s. I had the opportunity, and my wife and I prayed about and tried to figure where we want to live, and we fell in love with Seminole County. So I love this question because I get asked it a lot. And the reason is because we have fantastic schools, and we have a real wonderful sheriff's department. I think our sheriff does a great job of keeping us safe and really forward thinking. And it kind of reminds me, what I really like about Seminole County is not only do we have good schools, I think the best in the state, at least in the Tri-County area. We have fantastic, great sheriff's department. I live in the unincorporated part of Seminole County, but we still have a small town feel and everybody still sort of knows everybody. We had some issues here at the Sharing Center a couple months ago with the COVID crisis, and we were able to pick up the phone and call the director of health and have COVID testing done here the next day. If we were in Orange County or if we were in even Osceola, we wouldn't be able to have that access. So that's part of what I love is people still care for their neighbors in many ways.
I love that. And I would echo that sentiment, having moved to Seminole County about a decade ago, feeling very much like there are connections to be made. So thanks for highlighting that specific example, Chris.
Yeah, and I'm really sad about Dr. Griffin retiring. I'm not going to lie to you, Andy. I'm not happy. I totally get he must spend time with his family, but he's just a fantastic leader.
He is. I was talking to one of our principals today, and we were just talking about how he kind of embodies the DNA of the school system, and it's going to be very, very hard to replace him.
You obviously have a heart for what you do, serving with a nonprofit. You've had a diverse career with lots of different opportunities. Could you share something in regards to your career, both with the Sharing Center and maybe other places? What's something that really stands out to you that you're proud of?
I have to admit that I used to be called Crocodile Chris. That was a name that I had for about 7 years because I worked at the Jungle Cruise in Disney World. Still get called Crocodile Chris. I can still do that spiel from 30 years ago. That's probably not the right answer. I should give you the proper, pastoring a church or serving the poor. But, being Crocodile Chris was kind of a lot of fun. I have had a diverse career. Grew up here and worked at Disney World. It was in high school. My mother looked at me one day and she said, "You're not going to go surfing over spring break. Disney's hiring. Go get a job." And I got hired and started working the next day. And then that started a kind of a career there. And I still love the park. So I've had that, and, I worked in the corporate world. I worked for Fortune 100 companies in management and in marketing and sales. I worked for a wine distributor, and then I spent almost 2 decades as a pastor of local churches, and I served churches throughout the Midwest, different parishes in the Presbyterian world, Florida and back in the Midwest and Missouri, and my family and I kind of came back. But I think the thing that I've just been proud of is, you guys are pastors, you get this. The joy in a pastor's life is that we get invited into people's lives kind of at the high points and at their low points. And we get a glimpse into people's lives that not many people do. When you get to walk alongside, if it's a marriage, if it's a baptism or a dedication of a baby, or if it's at their burial, you're invited into their homes in moments of vulnerability. And that's a real sacred trust. And I take that pretty seriously. But, I've also been fortunate to serve on boards of Habitat for Humanity and communities and soup kitchens and feeding kitchens and scouting, and kind of love giving back and serving.
Oh, life well lived for sure. Well, Chris, you mentioned having just impacting people and being involved in people's lives and the highs. But really what you're doing now with the Sharing Center oftentimes is meeting people at the lows of life. Could you share about kind of the purpose and mission? Why does the Sharing Center exist and what do you do?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for, we were founded, it'll be 35 years next spring. We're getting ready for a big celebration. We were founded when a group of 17 churches came together from the Longwood, Castleberry, Seminole County community and realized that they were in trouble because they had an increase of people coming that needed help for hunger and for homeless outreach. And some of these pastors were not equipped. I still find it amazing that 17 churches came together to agree on something, because that's unheard of in the church world, came together to really try to combat hunger and homelessness in our community. And so they gathered in the Christian Sharing Center, as it was called back then, has moved a couple of different times and been in different locations. And really our mission is to provide essential resources to those in need while we ensure dignity, reflecting Christian generosity, and sharing God's love. And it's just an amazing opportunity, I think, for me and for all of us to get to see the change in people's lives. We don't like to say we give a hand out. We really like to focus on giving them a hand up. And it can be as simple as some food. It can be, one of our programs is we have the only homeless drop-in shelter, day site, if you will, in Seminole County, where folks that are homeless, they can come in, they can take a shower, They can get their laundry done. They can get their hair cut. We've got computers set up. They can charge their cell phones because everybody has a cell phone. It's got to get charged. We're also, which I think is amazing, we're a mail location for people. So a lot of our homeless clients, this is their address. Folks, and it's amazing talking to a guy who's a vet. And in order to get his veteran benefits, he had to have an address. In order to have he's got to have an ID and got to have an address. So it's this cycle. So we can be an actual address for people so their disability can come here and we can get that to them and serve them. And so really the thing that's great is that's a big area of focus for us. And then we also operate the largest food pantry in Seminole County. So we helped out almost 52,000 bags of groceries last year that we were able to give out to almost 17,000 families in need.
What have you seen happening to your clients during this COVID time, Chris?
It's a challenge. We never closed our doors for clients and family. We stayed open the whole time. We wore masks. We didn't stop serving our community, and we're really proud of the fact that we were able to continue to serve clients. We're seeing an increase between 20 and 30% in clients over the last couple of months over this time a year ago. We kind of changed some of our rules. We gave out food to people once a month if they needed it to be able to care for them. Saw a huge jump in the homeless population, partly because the buses were free up until now. But I'm just seeing a lot of gratefulness in families because they need it. We had a lot of folks up here that were furloughed and lost their jobs. And, we're about to see a huge, even larger increase in folks because the rent situation is still such a challenge in really the Tri-County area. We have some of the worst rent disparities in the country, I think, even. But we're seeing an increase in people. We're doing what we can. The big challenge for us is, you guys may not know this, or your listeners may not, we operate a really large thrift store in Seminole County. And last year, our thrift store did over $1 million in sales. And 90% of that thrift revenue goes directly back to client services. And what's really cool to me is not only did we do $1 million in sales, which is about $900,000 back to clients, we also gave in the form of vouchers $750,000 worth. So that's $1.65 million last year that we were able to directly impact from people bringing us donations to our neighbors in need. Well, our thrift store shut down for 2.5 months. So we didn't have that income stream for almost 3 months. And we're just now getting back to our income level from where we were a year ago. Last month, we were off just a little bit. We didn't quite get some of the back to school sales we thought. The other big impact we're seeing is we're getting a lot of donations, which is good. Our donation alley where we collect goods from people is only open a couple hours a day, and we're getting just as much as when we were open, like 6 or 7 hours. People are doing COVID closet clean out, as we call it.
Yeah, that's right. And as they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we really, we use everything here, which I'm amazed. Nothing goes to waste. Our trash cans are not that full ever because we recycle a lot of scrap metal. We salvage everything. Books that we get, if we can't sell them, we send them off to local schools. We send them to the correctional facility here in Seminole County to help out folks like that because they need books to read. So everything goes to use here, which I'm really proud of.
Wow. That's amazing, and very thankful for the continued work. I love that question, Andy, about how have things been changed and worked during COVID. Chris, just a couple of quick questions as we get ready to wrap up here. How can people maybe receive the support and help from the Sharing Center? So let's say either a listener or a listener knows someone in need. Could you briefly share what the process
Absolutely,
is?
yeah. Because of COVID, you can go on our website, and we're at thesharingcenter.org. You can download our form. You can fill it out. It tells you what you need to bring if you need rent, mortgage, utility assistance, or anything else. We even had a client recently that needed tires for their car to get to work, and we were able to provide them with tires. You can download that form. It tells you everything you got to bring in. Drop that off. Our client services will accept that Monday through Friday 10 to 12. You can drop that off. If you have a listener who is homeless, that is open. The Oasis is Monday through Friday. They're open 8:30 till about 12 every day. That's a drop-in. They don't need to do it. They just show up whenever they want. The homeless clients will get some food. They can get lined up for a shower, fill out the form or whatever. Or folks can always come and shop. Our shops are open from 10 till 5. I think we're going to extend the hours a little bit soon. And they can come shop Monday through Saturday. That also helps our community.
That's excellent. So as Drew asked the question, how can people be supported? Just very quickly, how can someone support the work of the Sharing Center? I know that's one of your favorite questions.
Yeah, it is. And we really are grateful. The community this spring has stepped up, and we just want to say thank you to everybody. We've had some fantastic donations from people in our neighborhood and our community that have really helped us out so we can meet the needs. Even though we were shut down, our store was, we were still able to help out. And in fact, in the next 4 months, we're going to double our rent assistance budget to help families in need because we know that people need the assistance. So we're going to double our budget for that. They can always go to thesharingcenter.org, our website. They can make a donation. They can come by. They can give me a call. I'd love to talk to them about opportunities to give. They can also bring their items Monday through Saturday from 10 to 12. We'll accept their donations.
I know that many in our community who have would like to give and give towards those who have not. And we're so grateful for the place of the Sharing Center. Chris, one more time, share with us that website again, if you would.
Yeah, it's www.thesharingcenter.org. I want to close with this story because I got to meet this family recently. And they recently came back to say thank you to us. So they moved here to America from Venezuela about 5 years ago. She was working for the Army and started to experience some death threats because she wasn't pleased as an attorney with what she was seeing and started to speak out. And so she and her family fled. This woman, she and her husband fled to America with their 3 young daughters. And they were on a bus one day talking in Spanish, and someone overheard them and said, "You should go check out the Sharing Center." So they came by, and one of our client workers that was sitting down with them and talking with them, they had a place to live, but they said, "Well, what's in your apartment?" She's like, embarrassed, but she said, "We're sleeping on the floor." So we were able to take them over to our furniture store. We got them mattresses. We outfitted their entire apartment with sofas and dishes and everything they needed. Well, they came back to visit us just recently, 5 years later. They have an apartment in Heathrow. The 3 daughters are in school. The husband has a full-time job, is the director of maintenance at a large hotel here in town. The mom is a stay-at-home mom, and they're now volunteering here with us regularly and giving back to us. And so it's that full circle of care for them. And so I love that I got to meet that family and talk to them a little bit because we were able to help change their lives. And the daughters were like, "We want to go become doctors." And the mom's hoping to become an attorney here so she can help other refugees. So we were just so grateful to God that we're able to be involved in people's lives. And so you can hear about that and other stories at www.thesharingcenter.org. You can find us there. I'm on LinkedIn. You can always find me there. You can find me running around town at different events. I wear bow ties a lot, so kind of look for me.
Chris, thank you so much for all that you do for our community. Thank you for our time today together. And thank you so much as well for all the work that the Sharing Center has done for many years for many people in our community. We are so blessed in our community to have the Sharing Center as part of us. The work that they do is incredible. And as Chris shared, I hope you're inspired by the work that they do. And I hope that you can support the work they do as well. Go to their website, check them out. They are a crucial part of our community. Drew, you've already shared your heart once today, but if you would share with us again a closing inspirational moment.
Yeah, Andy, this kind of reflects and relates to what I opened with. This quote is from Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. And the quote is this: life is about creating and living experiences that are worth sharing. Life is about creating and living experiences that are worth sharing. And I believe that we were made for community. We were made to support, to be in relationship with one another. And I love the quote from Mr. Jobs regarding no matter what you do, whether it's your work, your play, your creative elements, your passion for life, do it with someone else. Enjoy getting to know someone, allow them to know you. And as I spoke of my friend and brother Jeff Smith earlier, he was very much about that, about doing things together. So live life in a way where no matter what you're doing, the experiences that you share them with others.
Thanks, Drew, for that word and for your encouragement. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the What's Up Castleberry podcast, a casual conversation all about our community. This podcast is produced by Robin Kepke with the help of some others. For more information, please check out our website, Facebook page, Instagram, or the podcast feed, all with the name What's Up Castleberry. Please like us on social media. Please subscribe to us on your podcast provider. And if you've liked it, please rate us and review us so we can climb those podcast charts. Until next time, we hope you have a great week.